This is my guide for using the Ticktick app to implement the Getting Things Done framework. I'm not going to cover everything about the Getting Things Done framework. There's a book about that. But the TLDR is that the framework is there to help you stay efficient and relaxed. Our brains are not very good at remembering things, and ongoing tasks in the background can cause us ongoing mental stress and anxiety. It makes us more likely to forget important things, and that sucks. So, Getting Things Done framework is a good system to help alleviate that stress and help us avoid missing things. Before I explain the Getting Things Done framework, let's just blindly set up our phone in a certain way, and you can tweak it how you like later, but I'm just going to tell you what to do. Download and open the Ticktick app. It'll have some prompts. Delete all the lists that are here. You can tap and hold them, and there will be a delete list option. I think there will be a welcome list by default. Maybe there's a work and a personal. We want to get rid of those. So there's just today and inbox. First thing we're going to do is in the bottom right here, we're going to go to Smart Lists, and we're going to turn on this next 7 days smart list, and we're going to say show. And then the today one, we're actually going to hide it because I don't use that one. And then let's also go to tags, and instead of show if not empty, we're just going to say show. That should be all the settings we need here. So now you can see we've got this tags drop down, we've got our inbox, and we've got our next 7 days. Now let's start by adding a couple lists. We're not going to have many lists, but we do want to have a couple. So let's go ahead and add a list, and let's start with one that I like to call references and have a little emoji for it. I like the little yellow notebook, and you can make it whatever color you want. I like yellow. And here we want to go to more. References list, instead of being a task list type task list, we want to make it a note list. So our references are just like a bunch of notes. These are not tasks. You'll see how we use this later. We're just setting things up blindly for now. The next list, if you work, and might have tasks that are related to your work, then a work list makes a lot of sense. And you can use whatever color you want. Let's say I want red for that. So that's all set up. And finally, if you have school or something, that might be good to have too, but I'm just going to keep it more simple. We're going to have, you could call it personal, you could call it general actions. I'll do personal. And you can use any emoji you want. I like the little stars. And I like to make my personal list green. Now we want to add some tags. Let's start with the two most important tags. We're going to come back to these, and I'm going to explain them in more detail. But this is going to be our next tag, which I'm going to make green. I can hit this drop down, and now I can see the next tag there. Tag. We're also going to have a someday. I'll call it someday maybe because this is a tutorial, and that's a little more clear. And I like to order them so that next is always on top. Now let's have a couple of context tags. So let's have a tag, and I'm going to call it people, okay? Let's also have places. Tag places. It's great. I want my next and my someday at the top. So let's go ahead and do that. Now on people, let's click and hold it, and let's add a sub tag. Think of just people in your life where you might want to remember something you need to tell them or whatever. So let's say I have a friend, Charlie. I will add that to people, and I like to have an @ sign in front of my contexts, so in front of my people and places. You don't have to do that, but I think it helps visually later. And let's add a couple more. So I've got Bill, and let's add another one, Alice. Cool, so I've got a couple people. Let's add some places. I've been doing it so that places don't have to denote physical places. So for example, I like at computer. That's a place I go to, and there's a lot of stuff that I do at my computer that's when I'm at my computer, I want to be able to be oh, what are the things I could do at my computer? This is a useful context to have here. But definitely you'll probably want an at home tag. Okay, cool. I think that's enough contexts and tags. Those are our lists, those are our tags, and we can add more later. So don't worry about it too much. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to set up our phone. The way that I want you to have it, at the top here, I have a widget for my calendar. And whatever calendar you use, put it at the top here. Now we're going to add several Ticktick widgets. The main one we want is this one. It's called standard. This one. Let's go ahead and add that. You can change the theme to whatever you want. We'll just leave it like that for now. We're going to start by just making them all, right? So go ahead and make one that takes the remainder of this screen. Now let's go to the next screen. Make another one. Tick, standard. And this one I just have them all at the top. And then finally, our last page, make it take the whole page. And the last thing we want one more widget. Free up a slot down here in your like home apps, widget, Ticktick. And at the very bottom, there is Ticktick shortcut. Let's grab this and put it here. But you don't need to change anything. Just hit the check mark. Perfect. And now down here, we've got this. All right, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to make one dummy task. We can call it test or whatever. And we're just going to give a few tags to it. You need to give it next and either people or one of the people in people. Go ahead and make that. Cool. Now we've got test. So now we can finish setting these up. This first one here on your home page is going to be your inbox. So leave that one. This next one at the top, this is going to be our next 7 days. The one below that is going to be our next tag. And our last one is going to be our people tag. You'll hit this select all tags button. One other setting you want for this one, instead of being grouped by date, we want this one grouped by tag. And then we want to change the grouping in our next tag. So we go to settings, group by, list. Now that our setup is done, I'm going to tell you a little bit about the Getting Things Done framework. Basically, the idea is we're going to develop 4 habits. Habit 1 is we need to capture everything that we might want to remember. So anytime you think of anything you might want to remember, you need to capture that. I will show you this. I'll be giving examples of this. The second part is we need to regularly process our inbox and our next. So I made a widget for our inbox here and our next here. The reason they're there is because we want to be seeing them a lot, because we want to be processing them a lot. I'll be showing you how to do that. Our third thing is we need to check our contexts when going to them. So this is something we're doing in the real world. This is when I go to see Amy, I want to first check my Amy context to see if there's anything I might be forgetting that I need before I see Amy. So like if I borrowed the Amy hat, I need to remember to return that hat. And that will be in my Amy context. Or if I'm going to the grocery store, I might have a grocery list I want to check. And the last thing, roughly once a week, we want to check our someday and our projects to make sure things are like in sync, and maybe some of the things in someday will go into next or whatever. These are the main things we have to do. I know things are still probably pretty confusing, but it should get more clear as I'm like developing a bunch of examples. So let's go ahead and do that. So to start these examples, let's capture a bunch of things. So how do we capture things, and what are the kinds of things that we want to capture? I'm going to give a bunch of examples. Let's say one of the things we want to do is this tutorial. It's this video. We want to complete the Ticktick and Getting Things Done tutorial. So what we'll do is you'll hit this little add button, or you could hit it here. Any of these plus buttons will add it to your inbox. Whenever we capture something, it just goes into our inbox. That's all we do. You want it to be the lowest friction possible to add the thing. So you click this, and this menu comes up. It doesn't even open the app. It just gives you this little overlay, and you can type it in, or I recommend even lower friction is just saying something. Complete GTD tutorial. And you send it, and now you can see it's there. Great. Something else you should do. When you complete the tutorial, I want you to comment on the video for things that were difficult to understand or were unclear. Comment on the video things that were unclear or difficult to understand. So the first time you start with GTD, it's going to be a ton of stuff in your inbox, but I'll show you how to get through it in an organized way that'll clean it all up, and then keeping up with it becomes a lot easier. So another example, Alice mentioned a cool show that I might want to go to. Anything you might want to remember should be captured. You should capture all of it. Paint the living room. Return clothes that don't fit. Pack for my trip to Mexico. Do laundry. Tell Bill I liked the movie he recommended. Order toothpaste online. Read Freakonomics. All right, you can see we've captured a bunch of things. You'll probably have more that you want to capture. These are just random examples. It's any time you think of anything that you might need to remember, you capture it. Now let's talk about processing. I made this flowchart. It's going to look like a lot, but it's not that much. And I'll put a link in the description for the flowchart. You should download this flowchart so that you have it for your references. That is itself a task, and you should get in the habit of thinking, this is a thing I need to remember to do, I should capture that immediately. So whenever you have something you need to do, you should think to capture it right away. You go here, get the flowchart for processing my inbox. So now let's go ahead and process the inbox. Well, let's look at this first item. We want to get this flowchart. So we would click the link in the description. We would download the flowchart. You can add an image here. Choose photo. Look at that. Now I've got this available. So if we look at the flowchart, is this actionable? Well, I guess getting the flowchart is actionable. We can go ahead and we can probably change this. We already have it. So we could just say flowchart for processing inbox. Now, no, this is not really actionable anymore. This is a reference. You see the flowchart? No. Let's add the appropriate tags and add it to references. If you want to have a tag for maybe GTD related things or whatever, you can. Or if you just want to put it into references, that is also an option. Since this is no longer a task, it's worth converting this to a note. Note is basically the same as a task, except there's no like checkbox. It can't be marked done. This is just a reference. There's also a limit to how many tasks you can have, but there's no limit to how many notes you can have. And the last thing we should do is tap on inbox, and this is a reference now. Now it's no longer in the inbox, so we go back, and it's gone. Read Freakonomics. That's a book we want to read. Maybe books are a thing that we want to have a reading list for. So let's make a tag. Let's call it reading list. Now we have a reading list tag. So one way we could do it is every time we think of a book, we could add it to our reading list. Alternatively, this button here makes this item into a list. So we could call this our reading list, and we could have Freakonomics on here. And if you want, you could still have the reading list tag, and it's a tag just for this one thing. Or it depends on how you want to organize it. It doesn't really matter. Then you could categorize it. If you want, you could call it a reference, even though it has a checklist, or you could put it in personal. It's kind of up to you. For me, a reading list or a karaoke list or shopping list, I kind of think of that more as a reference. So I'm going to put it in references. But again, it's how you want to organize it. All right, order toothpaste online. Is this actionable? Yes, it is. Can I do it in less than 2 minutes? Yes. So this is a good example of something I could just go order the toothpaste. It's not really worth like taking this and categorizing it and giving it tags if you could just do it. Let's go ahead and do that. So let's pretend I go online, I order toothpaste, and I check this off. Done. Tell Bill I liked the movie he recommended. Let's look at the flowchart. Is it actionable? Yes. Less than 2 minutes? Maybe, but it's not something I can do right now. Let's say no. Is it something that requires another person, place, or context? Yes. I need Bill there. I want to talk to Bill about this. The next time I see Bill, I want to talk to him about this movie that he wanted me to see. So we'll put the @Bill tag here, and then we keep going in the flowchart. This whole orange section here, it's for multitask organization. This is a simple task. It doesn't require multiple steps, so we can skip that whole orange section. Does this task have a time or date associated with it? No, not really. Are you sure you want to do this, and is it something you want to do soon? Yeah, this isn't like a on the horizon sort of thing. It's just like next time it seems appropriate to come up, it should come up. And did we give it an @context tag or date earlier? Yes, we did. We gave it @Bill. Since it has a context, we don't need to be putting it into, I'm going to be talking about our next and someday tags. This doesn't really need to be in one of those because we should be checking this when we see Bill. Lastly, any other tags or appropriate lists we can add it to. There are really no other tags that I can think of that I would put something like this on, so I just put it in the appropriate list. This is personal. Most things are going to go into personal, unless they're work related. Do laundry. Is that actionable? Yes. Takes more than 2 minutes. Does it have a place or context? Well, yeah, I guess I have to do it at home, right? Does it have multiple steps? So laundry, like, kind of, but the laundry is something you're familiar enough with, and, you know, it doesn't need to be, like, broken down like a project or something. You know all the steps to do your laundry. So unless you're struggling with that for some reason, I'd say do laundry is sufficient. Does the task have a particular date associated with it? No. Are you sure you want to do this, and do you want to do it soon? Yeah. Do we have a tag associated with it? We do, but we don't really want to just like, laundry is something we want showing up on our next list, I think. Again, it's up to you. It's your organization, but like our next list is one that we're going to look at a lot and be like, what are things we need to do in like the nearest future? And laundry seems like an appropriate one for that. Let's go ahead and add the next tag to laundry. And then lastly, put it in the appropriate list, personal. So that's out of the inbox. Pack for my trip to Mexico. It's actionable. Is it less than 2 minutes? No. Does it require a particular context? Maybe you could put at home. It's kind of up to you. Does it have subtasks or multiple steps? I would say yes for this. There's kind of a list of things you need to pack. This seems like a fine enough example for this adding subtasks section. So let's go ahead and add a subtask. Pack our red shirt. Add another task for the blue shirt. If you want to go like really in detail, or if you want to be in less detail, we could just say clothes. And then you can also tap and drag these, and if you scoot it over a bit, it becomes like a sub item of that thing. So that's how you can like make things subtasks easily, tapping and dragging them around. Let's say we need like our toothbrush, toothpaste, contacts, solution. And then we start to realize, oh, we've actually got quite a few. These are all kind of toiletries. Maybe we want to collect those into toiletries. And then we can tap and drag these over. We're a little more organized. And maybe we need like a phone charger. So, you know, you're thinking of this as you're creating this, but you can trust that you don't need to remember everything right now because you're trusting that you are going to capture things as they come to mind. If your trip is several months out, then over the course of the months, whenever you think, oh, I need this thing, you'll capture that, and then you'll add it to this. This helps alleviate your need to try to come up with everything right now. Going back to the flow chart, does it have a date associated with it? Now I would say yeah. And let's say my trip is on the 30th. Can I have a reminder on time? Let's say we have a reminder, I don't know, a day early to pack. We could have tags associated with it. If you want, you could have like a travel tag. Maybe you have a packing tag. The date itself can just be sufficient because when we check our next 7 days list, when we're a week out, we will see that. It's not going to get lost if we don't have tags, and put it in the personal list. All right, return clothes that don't fit. We definitely want to tag for the store so that the next time we're going to Kohl's, we will see this item when we look at that context. However, there's like a due date here. We don't want to just be like, next time I go to Kohl's, I'm going to return these clothes, because what if I don't go to Kohl's for a while? Say I need to return them by the 17th. Let's set a reminder a day before. So December 17th, we have to do this. And then let's put this in the personal. Paint the living room. Is this actionable? Yes. Can you do it in less than 2 minutes? No. Is it something requires another person or place or something? Kind of. I mean, this is kind of a bigger, this is like a project. Painting the living room is like a real project. We're in this multi-step orange task section here. Does it have multiple tasks or steps? Yeah, it really does. Let's go ahead and add some subtasks. And again, we can use our voice for this. We can prime, paint. Let's say I'm like, all right, that's all the planning I want to do for now. Maybe we'll fill in some gaps later. But for now, that's enough planning for this project. Is there a particular date associated with this? No. Let's say I just want to do this in the near future. Am I sure I want to do it, and do I want to do it soon? Yes. Are there any context associated with it? No. So let's go ahead. We want to put this into next. So now in our next, we're going to have this project, and it's going to have a bunch of subtasks and stuff like that. And lastly, we put it into our personal. We take it out of our inbox. Alice mentioned a cool show that I might want to go to. Let's assume that this show is in the distant future and I maybe want to go to it. Is it actionable? Sure. Is it under 2 minutes? No. Does it require a particular person or place? No. It's not really a multi-step thing. Does it have a particular date or time associated with it? Let's say we don't really know what day it is. Am I sure I want to do it, and do I want to do it soon? No. This is maybe I'm going to do this in the future. This is what the someday maybe tag is for. These are things that are kind of distant, and maybe we'll reprioritize them later. We will be checking our someday maybe list weekly or so, and then we can reevaluate later, and we'll put that into personal. While I was doing all of this, let's say I was like, where would I organize a recipe list? And so this would then maybe go underneath here. Comment things on the video, and I'm like, hey, Kurt, it wasn't clear to me where I'd put a recipe list, you know? Less than 2 minutes? Well, commenting will be, but I can't do it right now. Is there something, does it require another person, context? I mean, maybe at computer, or the computer tag on there. Have multiple subtasks? Yeah, but we'll be like adding those as we think of them. So like as we are going through this video, we'll be adding things that were unclear to us or could be better. Is this a subtask for another task? No, not really. Does another task need to be completed before this, or is this related to another task? Kind of yes, actually. We need to complete the GTD tutorial before we can comment on it, because maybe we'll develop more questions as we're going. Let's merge the tasks. So I wanted to show you that. If you tap and hold something, you get this like multi-select option. And so we can select the two of them, and we can hit this ... and go to merge task. You can just call this task like GTD or something. It didn't keep the hierarchy from before, so let's push this over again. So now it's a subtask of this one. Going back to the flowchart, there's not really a date associated with it. I'm sure I want to do it in the near future. And there are contexts, but we don't want to be reminded of it only when we're looking at our at computer context, we want this to be in next. So now when we look at our next list, this will be there. That'll be like some next actions that we can take when we want to do something. Put this in personal, and we're good. Lastly, we added some tags. Let's go ahead and organize these a little better. Coles, if we tap and hold it, we should edit it, and we should make the parent tag places. Reading list, I just want it to be at the bottom. Now, let's see what our phone looks like here. My inbox is empty. That's great. My next 7 days, I don't have anything going on in the next 7 days. Let's change this date to something sooner just so that we can see what things would look like if they were in the next 7 days. And now we can see, oh, today I need to return these clothes, and here's some stuff I need to pack for my Mexico trip. I have this people page so that whenever I'm going to see a person, I can go to this and it's broken down by each of the people. You can switch this over to, like, if you specifically wanted to look at your home things. Oh yeah, I need to do laundry. Although that's also in my next down here, do laundry. You know, if I'm going to go to Kohl's. Oh yeah, I need to return those clothes that don't fit. So let's go back to this. We've covered capturing everything, covered processing our inbox. So we want to be processing the inbox like we just did, like twice a day or so. Usually there will be a lot fewer tasks there. If it's on your phone, it can be like while you have downtime, you can just process a few tasks or whatever. It's pretty easy to keep up with it, actually. And then next, you want to just look at pretty often. You want to just be like, oh yeah, here are some like next items that I can be doing. You want to make sure your next list doesn't get too big, so feel free to put things into someday or whatever if you don't think you're going to get to them soon. Next is really like things you want to be doing soon, and you want to be like kind of reminded in a way that you want to be doing them soon because you have your next list that you're looking at pretty often. 3, check your context when you're going to them. If I'm going to see a person, check my context for that person to see if there's anything I needed to tell them or give to them or something. If I'm going to a place, make sure I have the stuff I need for that place. Weekly, you want to check your projects and your someday. Just kind of want to clean things up, see if there's anything that you kind of like didn't organize properly. And you want to skim through your someday maybe list and think like, maybe this show that I was thinking about before, oh, I actually now want to like look into that show and find out if it's something I want to do. So maybe I've now decided that I do want to go to this show. Okay, so I could either mark this done and make a new task, or I could take this one and I could say, okay, let's make a next task, and we'll remove the someday maybe tag. And now when I go to next, looking into the tickets for this is a thing. So when I'm looking for something to do, when I'm like, what are the things I need to do, like in the near future, I'll view this list and I'll be like, oh shit, yeah, you wanted to look into that. Let's go ahead and do that. All right, that pretty much summarizes everything. You've completed the tutorial. Once you've commented on the things that you think that should be improved or whatever, or were unclear or unable to understand. So make that comment and then check this guy off, and then you've completed the tutorial. You can check this guy off if you want, or you can just check off the parent, and then those are done. And that is removed from your next list. So, peace.